Hi, my name is Ben, and I want to share something very special with you. It's a story, but also a little advice, a small whisper of encouragement. I know sometimes it feels really hard to start a conversation, to say that first hello or even make eye contact. But trust me, you are not alone in feeling that way. Many of us get nervous, not knowing what to say or how to begin. Today, I'll talk to you about the first steps you can take to start talking with others, and I promise it will feel like a friendly conversation between us. I hope you'll stay with me and listen to the whole story. It might help you in ways you never thought possible. The very first step in learning to talk to someone new is to believe that it's okay to feel a little nervous. Everyone, from the shy kid in school to the bravest person you know, feels nervous sometimes. I remember my first day at a new school. I didn't know anyone, and the idea of talking felt like climbing a big mountain. But then something interesting happened. A boy named Mike smiled at me, and it felt like the world opened just a bit. I knew then that sometimes the first step is as simple as smiling. A smile is like saying, "Hey, I see you and I'd like to know you." When you understand how powerful small actions can be, it becomes easier to take the first step. Think of a conversation like building a bridge between two people. The first word, even if it's just hi, is the first plank of that bridge. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody expects you to say the most interesting thing in the world right away. In fact, many great friendships and conversations start with something as ordinary as "How's your day going?" or "What do you think about the weather today?" Talking is important because it connects people. We are all little islands, and talking makes bridges between those islands. Imagine if everyone stayed silent all the time, thinking they didn't have anything important to say. The world would feel very lonely, wouldn't it? But each word you say is like planting a tiny flower, and over time you create a beautiful garden of conversations. It doesn't matter if the flowers are big or small, what matters is that they bloom. The truth is, people usually enjoy being talked to. Sometimes they are just waiting for someone like you to start. Maybe they feel nervous too, and your first word will help them relax. You never know who might be needing a kind word. Maybe someone had a bad day, and your simple hello makes them feel a little lighter. Or maybe that person you're too shy to talk to is feeling the same way about you. Isn't it amazing to think that we are all connected by our shared feelings? I know the what ifs can make it seem hard. What if they don't reply? What if they think I'm boring? But here's a little secret. It's okay if every conversation doesn't go perfectly. Not every plant we try to grow becomes a flower, but that doesn't mean we stop planting seeds. Each time you try to talk, you learn something new, and that makes the next time a little easier. Listening is also a key part of starting to talk. When you listen to others, you understand what makes them happy or what they care about. Then you can respond with kindness and interest. For example, if someone mentions they like drawing, you can ask, "What kind of things do you like to draw?" This shows them that you care about what they say, and it helps the conversation flow smoothly. It's like learning to dance. You listen to the music, find the rhythm, and step in at the right moment. Sometimes we think we need to wait for the perfect moment to speak, but the truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect moment. The right moment is whenever you decide to try. It might be during lunch break at school, in a park, or even while waiting in line at a store. You don't have to start with something deep. Even the smallest words can open the door to something wonderful. And if someone doesn't respond the way you hoped, it's okay. It's not a reflection of your worth, it just means they were not ready, and that's fine too. Let me tell you another little story. One day, I saw a girl sitting alone in the library. She seemed friendly, but I felt nervous to say anything. My heart was racing, and my hands felt cold. But I took a deep breath and said, "Hi, do you like reading too?" To my surprise, she smiled warmly and said, "Yes, I do. I was hoping someone would talk to me." That small moment taught me that fear is often much bigger in our heads than it is in real life. Taking the first step feels scary, but once you do it, you realize it wasn't as hard as you imagined. When you start talking, you discover so many new things, stories you've never heard, ideas you've never thought of, and people you might never have met otherwise. It's like opening a new book every time you talk to someone. And each conversation teaches you something, not just about others, but also about yourself. You might find out that you are a great listener, or that you can make others laugh. Talking helps you discover these wonderful things about yourself that you never knew. It's also important to be kind to yourself. If you try to talk and it feels awkward, don't worry. Every first step feels a little shaky. Remember when you learned to ride a bike? At first, it seemed impossible to balance, but after a few tries, you got the hang of it. Talking works the same way. The more you do it, the more comfortable you become. And soon, you'll find yourself enjoying conversations without even thinking about it. One more thing, people really appreciate honesty. If you don't know what to say, it's okay to admit it. You can say, "I'm not very good at starting conversations, but I'd like to talk." This shows others that you are trying, and most people will respect your effort. Being yourself is the best way to connect with others because it makes the conversation real and meaningful. We all have a voice that deserves to be heard. Your thoughts, your feelings, your stories, they matter. And the only way others can know them is if you share them. Taking that first step might feel like standing at the edge of a pool, afraid to jump in. But once you do, you realize the water isn't as cold as you thought, and you feel lighter, free, and happy. If you ever feel too nervous, Just remember that every conversation starts with one word. You don't have to say everything perfectly. You only need to try. And the world, with all its wonderful people, is waiting to hear what you have to say. Let's keep going. Remember, every small step counts. The key is to practice without worrying too much. Let me tell you about something easy you can try. Next time you're out, like at the grocery store or in the park, try saying something simple to a stranger, maybe the cashier or someone standing nearby. It can be as small as "Hope your day is going well" or "The weather is really nice today." Isn't it? You'd be surprised how often people respond kindly. It's these tiny moments that build your confidence bit by bit. When I was younger, I thought conversations needed to be long and interesting. But over time, I learned that it's okay for them to be short. Every word we say, even if it's small, matters. Imagine conversations like a puzzle. Each word is a piece, and with every new piece, the bigger picture becomes clearer. You don't need to complete the whole puzzle at once. Just adding one piece at a time is enough. The best part is, the other person will help you build that puzzle too. One thing that helps a lot is asking questions. Questions show that you care and want to know more, and they make it easy for the other person to talk, which makes your job easier. You could start with, "Do you like this place?" or "What's your favorite thing to do on the weekend?" Questions open doors because people like sharing their thoughts and experiences. Let me tell you about my friend Jenny. Jenny used to be super shy, just like you might feel sometimes. She was scared of saying the wrong thing. But one day, she decided to try something new. She made a goal to ask at least one person a question every day, even if it was small. At first, she was nervous. Some people gave short answers, and that made her feel awkward. But instead of stopping, she kept trying. One day, she asked a classmate, "What's your favorite kind of music?" That simple question led to a long conversation about songs, bands, and concerts. They became good friends after that. And all it took was one question to start something beautiful. I know you might wonder, what if people don't want to talk? That's okay too. Not everyone will be in the mood to chat, and that's perfectly fine. It's not about you, it's just how they feel at the moment. Think of it like knocking on a door. Sometimes the door opens, and sometimes it doesn't. But every time you knock, you get a little braver. And soon, it won't feel scary anymore. Here's another helpful tip: pay attention to your body language. When you approach someone with a friendly smile and open posture, it makes them feel comfortable. Have you ever noticed how animals, like dogs, can tell if someone is friendly just by looking at them? People are the same way. A smile or a small nod says, "I'm happy to talk if you are," and even if words feel hard to say at first, your body can do some of the talking for you. I once heard a wise person say, "The hardest part of any journey is the first step." And you know what? That's true for talking too. But the magic is that the second step feels easier, and the third even more so. The more you talk, the less you worry about being perfect. You realize that conversations are just two people sharing moments, nothing more. You don't need to impress anyone, you just need to be yourself. Talking also helps us grow in ways we might not expect. It teaches us patience, kindness, and how to understand different points of view. When you talk to someone new, you step into their world for a moment. You get to see life through their eyes, and that makes you wiser. Isn't that wonderful? Let's take a moment and imagine something together. Close your eyes, if you like, and picture yourself in a room full of people. At first, you feel nervous, but then you remember what we've talked about. You take a deep breath, smile, and walk over to someone. Hi, you say. How's your day going? They smile back and say, it's been good. How about yours? Just like that, you've made a connection. The room feels a little less scary now. You realize that every person in that room has their own hopes, worries, and dreams. They are just like you, hoping to connect with someone too. The next time you feel unsure about talking, remind yourself that every person you meet is a chance to learn something new. You might meet someone who shares your favorite hobby or who knows about something you've always wanted to learn. Or you might simply brighten someone's day with your words. Isn't it amazing to think about all the possibilities waiting out there? It's also okay to practice with yourself. Stand in front of a mirror and say, "Hi, how are you today?" or practice introducing yourself. It might feel silly at first, but it's a great way to get comfortable with your words. Think of it like warming up before a big game. The more you practice, the better you get. And remember, you don't need to talk to everyone at once. Start small, one conversation at a time. Maybe you could say hello to a neighbor or ask a friend how their day was. Each time you try, you build a little more confidence, like stacking small blocks to build a tall tower. You might also notice that people aren't as scary as they seem. Most people are happy to have someone talk to them. They might be waiting for you to start, just like Mike was waiting for me that day in school. And if someone isn't in the mood to talk, that's okay too. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It just means it wasn't the right time. And that's perfectly normal. Every day is a new chance to try again. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay too. The important thing is to keep going. You're doing something brave, and that's worth celebrating.